وسارعوا إلى مغفرة من ربكم وجنة عرضها السماوات والأرض أعدت للمتقين. Hasten to the forgiveness of your Lord and to Jannah, the expanse of which is like the heavens and the earth, prepared for the muttaqeen. Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala in Madarij al-Salikin, he mentions a beautiful passage in relation to this affair of love, hope, and fear. Since many are the statements of the Salaf in relation to this affair of love, hope, and fear. Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions al-qalb fi sayrihi ila Allah azza wa jal bimanzilati at-ta'ir. He said that the heart in relation to its journeying towards Allah azza wa jal is like a bird. فَالْمَحَبَّةُ رَأْسُهَا. He said, al-mahabba, love is its head. وَالْخَوْفُ وَالرَّجَى جَنَاحَا. He said, and fear and hope are its two wings. فَمَتَى سَلِمَ الرَّأْسِ وَالْجَنَاحَانِ فَالطَّائِرُ جَيِّدُ الطَّيِّرَانِ. He said that whenever the head and the two wings are sound, then the bird is proficient at flying. He mentions وَمَتَى قُطِعَ الرَّأْسِ مَاتَ الطَّائِرُ. Whenever the head is cut off, then the bird, it dies. وَمَتَى فُقِدَ الْجَنَاحَانِ فَهُوَ عُرْضَةٌ لِكُلِّ صَائِدٍ وَكَاسِرٍ. He mentions, and whenever the two wings are cut off, then he is exposed to every hunter, every animal of prey that finds him, he'll be exposed to them because he can't fly. And so look first at the parable and the manner in which he strikes this parable. The first thing is that he mentions the affair of mahabba being the rats, or love being the head of the bird. This is majorly important that we understand that this love, and you remember we mentioned the statement of Abu Ali, this love, ayyuhal ikhwa, causes the affair of love, hope and fear to be different, or hope and fear to be different than to the one who is mukrah, the one who is compelled to carry an action out. The one who is compelled to carry an action out is ordinarily doing so out of fear and hope that he will not die. But it is not based on love. He doesn't love the one that compels him. He fears him and he hopes that he doesn't harm him. So this is the state of the mukrah. In relation to that, Imam Ibn Rajab rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions in Fathul Bari, يعني Imam Ibn Rajab, he has a Fathul Bari just as Imam Ibn Hajar has a Fathul Bari. He mentions rahimahullah concerning the most important affair, or this issue of mahabba and having love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, لأن المؤمن يجب عليه أن يأتي بالطاعة خوفا من عقاب الله ورجاء لثوابه وحبا له فبذلك يفارق هذا المكره. He said, it is imperative that the believer, he carries out these acts of obedience, fearing the iqab of Allah, fearing the punishment of Allah Azza wa Jal, hoping for the reward in Allah Azza wa Jal, wa hubban lahu, and loving Allah Azza wa Jal. And by way of this, he differs from the one who is compelled. His state is not the state of someone who is compelled to do a particular action that he hates. Rather, he carries out these actions based on love. He loves his Lord. And there is nothing more beloved to him than his Lord. There is nothing dearer to him than his Lord. And so he carries these actions out because he knows that his Lord has commanded him. He loves him, and so he carries it out. Likewise, he knows that his Lord has threatened that the one who does not do so will be punished. And so the janib of fear comes in. The element of fear comes in. And he has been acquainted with the promise of the Jannah and the reward of Allah for the muttaqeen. And so he hopes and desires this reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the affair of mahabba is the ra's of the bird. It is the head of this bird. He mentions rahimahullah ta'ala. ولكن السلف استحبوا أن يقوى في الصحة جناح الخوف على جناح الرجاء. He said, but the Salaf of this ummah, they preferred that when a person is of sound body, a person is healthy, and he doesn't fear death, then he should give precedence to the element and to the wing of fear. That is what the believer needs. That is what human beings need. They need to be afraid of themselves. They need to be afraid of the outcomes of their actions. They need to be afraid of dalala and misguidance. They need to have this janib of fear and give more precedence to this janib of fear. Fear, as Al-Imam Ibn Al-Qayyim, he mentions the Salaf, that they held this. He said, وَعِنْدَ الْخُرُوجِ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا يَقْوَى جَنَاحُ الرَّجَى عَلَى جَنَاحِ الْخَوْفِ. But when a person is leaving the dunya, when he's at his point of death, he gives precedence and weight to the wing of hope. Now there is nothing else he can do. He's on the verge of passing away, leaving the dunya. He's on the verge of being taken by Malakul Maut. So here he gives precedence to Janibur Raja. He gives precedence now to the element of hope, hoping that Allah Azza wa Jal will forgive him, hoping that Allah subhanahu will have mercy on him, hoping that that which Allah Azza wa Jal has promised the believers from the rahmah, and that he is rahimun bihim, that this affair will overcome him, and that he will be from among those who the mercy of Allah overcomes him, and that he benefits from that mercy. Here the janib of raja is given precedence. He mentions وَهَذِهِ طَرِيقَةُ أَبِي سُلَيْمَانَ وَغَيْرِهِ. Here he mentions this was the path of Abu Sulaiman, and what he intends by way of this is Abu Sulaiman al-Darani. Abu Sulaiman al-Darani, that great Imam al-Zahid, the one that was well known for his zuhud, such that his statements were passed generation after generation by the ulama and by the a'imma because of how powerful his statements were. And Imam Ibn Al-Qayyim, he mentions here that Abu Sulaiman al-Darani قال, he said, ينبغي للقلب أن يكون الغالب عليه الخوف فإن غلب عليه الرجاء فسد. Abu Sulaiman al-Darani, he said that what is befitting is that the heart, it gives more precedence to fear. For indeed, if he gives more precedence to raja, fasad. If he gives more precedence to raja, to hope, then it becomes corrupt. And that without doubt is the case, ayyuhal ikhwa. Majorly important that we understand the likes of these most important passages and this important kalam. And we'll round up, ayyuhal ikhwa, with the statement of the great Imam Yusuf ibn Asbat. He mentions لا يمحو الشهوات من القلوب إلا خوف مزعج أو شوق مقلق. He said that nothing removes shahawat, this desire for evil and for disobedience and for sin. Nothing removes it from the heart other than khawfun muz'ij, other than fear that causes you to be disturbed. Because of this fear that you possess, it overwhelms even your desire to carry out a particular action. And if it is not there, we should bring it there. We should work on increasing that khawf, that we may be, by way of that, able to overlook and overcome the desires that our souls have for disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, أو شوق مقلق, or longing that causes you to be anxious, longing and desiring to meet Allah Azza wa Jal, such that one is anxious to meet his Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala.